whether it's the acidity or the roast.
You filming?
Yeah.
Oh, you are filming.
You're fine.
No.
I just thought you vaguely might be interested.
Oh, I'm totally.
So this is a lovely young guy we found. It took us a little while to find a guy who actually knew what he was talking about as far as coffee's concerned up in Cranker.
Yeah.
But this guy was real good. So forget the
wow.
pictures. Let me find a picture of the pullback.
It looks like a mill city.
It is a mill city.
Okay, yeah.
In his shop, Joe. In his effing shop.
Like he's like he's serving coffee right there.
That's
but
on a stage. It's on a stage. He's put the machine on a stage.
that is awesome. Did he tell you that's a small one, like a 3 to
about
5 kilo?
About 5, yeah.
See, that's great.
And here's what was interesting with this guy, and I know you'd appreciate this because for you guys, he's open. How long has he been open now? 5 months.
He's been open 5 months.
Open 5 months. He's learning roasting. He said I've now done my 75th roast. He's got it all documented out. He's anal about documenting everything.
You kind of have to be.
And he said, at the moment, I'm only working with one bean. I'm trying to learn everything about this bean before I move on and start. And he said, I know there's a world out there. But I want to understand.
That's like me. I only have the 2 coffees. I have the Ethiopian and I have the Nicaraguan. And people always like, when are you gonna get another one? And I'm like, I'm planning on it, but there's so much to do.
You don't want to spread yourself thin and do everything.
Well, it's also like if you.
It's just all the variables. The whole world is a rabbit hole. Which next rabbit hole do you go down? It's like, do I shoot off down to Ethiopia, or do I go to South America?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, look, there's some things going on in Yemen. Let's go back to
focus.
Oh, yeah. No, and I love that it's a completely manual machine, but he has it connected to his laptop, so he's probably using Artisan or Crops or something to keep track of all the.
I said to him about that. I said, "You want to control?" He said, "No, you can't control it. It's just purely for reference. Just afterwards, you can stop. You go, okay, right. So I think that's a good roast. That's something to worry about. Holy shit! Did I do that? When did I do that? 5 minutes in? Really?
Yeah. It's still because it's all about finding like how the temperature, the rise of the temperature,
exactly.
Because sometimes you can hit it with a lot of heat up front. Sometimes you can start out easy and then.
He's doing all this. He's a very young guy, very passionate, like you, passionate. He's very passionate about. And then the lovely thing was, let me finish.
Yeah.
So here he is. This is the young guy.
Man, now he is young. Yeah.
So he's got these 6 buckets, right?
Yeah.
So we were the only 2 in there. We started asking questions. We showed him some pictures of our shop.
Yeah.
This is our shop. You roast? No, we don't roast. But I'm looking at it. I'm thinking that's we need to go back up the supply chain to put some money.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he said, "Would you like to do a cupping?"
That's cool. Is he local?
Yeah. So
No. He just came back from Ecuador.
This is a guy in Ecuador.
So this is a guy in Ecuador.
Up in the Andes, he's like 2,000 meters up there.
So
he's way up there. Yeah.
So where's the one coffee bean he's doing? Where is he getting it?
From southern Ecuador.
So he's getting coffee.
Peruvian. Do they border Peru?
Yeah.
I think Chile or Peru. Which is it? Peru. It's on the border. It's down,
Peru, I think.
Down south. It's on the border. On the border down there.
So yeah.
So what he's got is 6 buckets of the same bean with all very subtle different little brew profiles.
Yeah.
The heat and cold. Let's have a all out. Let's cut the whole lot. I didn't take many pictures, but this is what he's called Symphonia.
Yeah.
So you look at
beautiful. It's a beautiful logo too. It's very simple.
It's very simple. We brought some other coffees back as well, but this is he said it.
Yeah, I cupped them.
We didn't have the 5 cups or the 3 cups. He said, do you mind? He was very apologetic. He said, do you mind if we do it very simply, just with? We said, sure. Hey, what the hell?
Yeah.
But what was very interesting was, and he got his book out and he was showing it. So we tasted it. He said, I won't talk about any of them now. We'll taste them, we'll go around, we'll do that whole thing. And he's got a young guy that's just joined, been with him less than a month. And he said, it's good for him to learn more about cupping as well, which was really nice. He said, do you mind if he joins us? I said, hell no. So there's the four of us spinning around the table doing everything else. And then we start, and both their English, his English is superb, and his young guy, his English is good. Our Spanish is pretty poor, so that was interesting anyway. But so then we're going around, so they were trying to pull out, what did you think about this one? How did you compare to this one? And it was very interesting that, for instance, we bought a bag, and in the end we bought a bag of number one. We got a bucket
of the number one. Like that was the one that was,
me and Pri agreed, my partner, my wife agreed that that was number one was like number two. This one number two. There's nothing in there. Number two was like. I said, trying to explain that it's got a lot more depth to it. I said, it's got all the notes there that were in all the others, but there's a lot more. It's like I'm going to use. I said to him, I'm going to use different words, like darker, not stronger, like darker, more depth to the whole thing. And then he went around, slept, and goes, oh, okay, see what I mean. And he got his book out, and went, and he showed us what.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, see, this is cool. Well, you see, this is why I love like coffee so much, and like what he's doing in Ecuador is like what I'm trying to do here. What anybody like really cares about coffee, like because it's a care for the bean, the coffee, and it's a care for because the people are growing it, they're putting care in everything they do. Like we've talked about this before.
Well, this is why I told Joe. I see it as a triangular, unwritten contract between three people. There is a fourth person. I'll mention him in a moment. He's not really in the contract. But there's three people in the contract. So there's the farmer. So the farmer grows the crop. And he sets quality because as soon as he picks them, that's it. It ain't going to get any better. That's the end of it. So the farmer is the first part of the contract. He sets the quality when he picks. The second one is the roaster, because now he's got to take that green bean and he's got to try and find. Like this guy, he's been doing with the same bean for ages, trying to pull out, and try and replicate all those lovely flavours that are in that bean and trying to pull those out. Third part of the contract is us, because if we don't take what Joe gives us and we don't produce it in such a way, we just like slam it on the machine and throw it out with no care to what comes out, then the farmer's selling the quality just goes out the window. In fact, the whole contract collapses. If us two don't want to honour what the farmer did, the whole contract collapses. This unwritten contract. Who is the fourth person? The distributor between farmer and roaster. He has a duty of care. He's not part of the contract, but he has a duty of care to make sure the green beans get to the roaster in the best condition they can get.
Undamaged and
that's right. But I see it as, you can disagree with me, I see it as an unwritten contract between the three of us.
I mean, and the ultimate like benefactor of it is the consumer, because
there's a lovely end note, if you will, postscript to what I just said. There is Java brought one of their farmers that they go and visit in here. And we actually had his beans on the machine, so he'd never come out of country and had his beans roasted by Java in the shop that he'd been brought to actually taste it. The third part of the contract.
Which you got to experience the whole thing.
That must have been such a cool experience for him.
It was a wow factor, a kick in the pants for Java Pura. It certainly was for us to have the farmer in here, and he was stoked. He really was. He said, this is what it's about. To know, I'm going to go back and to know that my work and all my staff's work is being delivered at the third part of the.
You probably even know this as well. Like, there's so many growers that they never had an espresso shot. They've never had a pour over. They may not like in the coffee. So many producing countries, the best coffees are exported to Europe or United States.
I was watching a video and like Jamaica does their coffee, but drinking coffee isn't a big thing in Jamaica. So, this is so interesting.
And there's so many more bags of Green Mountain around them, but that could actually be produced in Jamaica. It's a joke. There's so many bogus bags of Green Mountain. It's Blue Mountain, isn't it? There's so many bogus bags of it around. It's ridiculous. But
so
yes, you're quite right, and that was very true of. You're correct. One of the South American countries where they, and I think it might have been Guatemala. Where that people would drink rubbish.
Oh yeah.
Because and some of the farmers, with help obviously from
They would drink Folgers or.
Basic quality.
So they said, no, we must give them the coffee that they're producing, so they understand. And once that happened, suddenly again another triangle came back to get bang around it. Suddenly they were invested in the process.
Yeah.
Suddenly, okay, now this is what it's about.
Yeah.
So if we pick the right ones instead of picking the overripened or the underripened fruit, this is what it produces. So we have to be careful in the way we pick, rather than just and everything else. So it's, that was interesting. So to get to so they educated their staff, their workers.
And a lot of them are seasonal staff because they come in for just the harvest time.
This is what decent coffee. This is what you're growing, guys. This is it.
Yeah.
And this is what happened. Try these two things. This one's when you only pick the.
I don't think they even had to try this and try this. Yeah, we remember what it's like.
Yeah, we remember what it's like. Yeah.
We remember that. Yeah.
That's so cool.
But I mean, we were just talking about he was asking me how to even get into specialty coffee, and it's I can still remember having my first single origin Kenyan coffee, and how it just opened it blew my mind, opened my eyes to what coffee can be, and I think that's anybody that's gets into coffee. That's one of the things I love about also the coffee community. People that get into it, they're there all together because they fell in love with coffee, but then as they go deeper and deeper, you can't help to love it more and more, and want to give it care.
I always think it's the lovely thing about it is that it has a lot of similarities to the wine industry.
Yeah.
Certainly, in its base form, tasting notes and those sort of things. And how when some coffees go cold, you get these beautiful taste notes really do come through. The heat goes away and your tongue's not worrying about having something hot on your tongue. It's now getting all these lovely fruit notes and other notes that are coming through. Chocolates, vanillas, God knows what else coming through. And that's what, of course, with wine, you get the swirling, the sniffing, the spitting, and then yes, I'm getting the vanillas, I'm getting volcanic. but so it has a lot of similarities with wine in that regard. And I forgot my train of thought here. I was going to say more about, but like wines, it's a moving target. So this was a great year for this type of wine. This was a bad year for this type of wine.
Yeah.
Very similar to coffee.
Yep.
This was a great year. And the next year, the farmer, he's at the mercy of nature. If nature whips his ass, he's going to turn around and say, I can't deliver on the contract. Or I can, but it's not as good a contract as we had last year.
Yeah.
So that's what I was. My thought comes back aging, my friend. That's the beautiful thing about it.
Yeah.
It's a moving target. So you will go away from it hopefully and say, hey, I had a great espresso, one of Joe's espressos down there. And you'll send somebody down and go, oh, I'd like to try this. I don't have it today because it's a moving target.
Exactly.
We moved on. And even your certain roast that you give us, as that ages and as it blossoms and we put it on the machine, even that changes. So you could come all week, and we have a guy that comes every day, walks his dog, he's here at 7 o'clock on 5 to 7, waiting for us to open the door. He always has a single origin, and he will sit with, they both stand there with Ryan, and they'll discuss how the flavour profile is changing as the bean degasses.
Yep.
How that some of the subtleties come out, and that's what that to me is perfect example of it's a moving target. When somebody says, so what is it? Where do I put the pin? You can't. It's moving around.
Yeah, I mean, it's like how that's how we used to live when like the food industry. You can get any fruit, vegetable you want year round. But normal farming, well, you get it different seasons. Winter fruit or summer, whatever. But so it's the same thing with I guess with the coffee also. But it's good now, but maybe not later. But we're talking about wanting things right away and how society runs. No one wants to do a pour over. That takes, how long does that take? No, I want to set my clock and my coffee's gonna be ready when I wake up, and I'm just gonna chug it down, and there's no appreciation for everything you're just been talking about.
Everything in life's a trade-off though.
Yeah.
You can have your Folgers and it can be immediate. You can do a siphon that takes, I don't know how many minutes that takes, 10 minutes. minutes. or
10 minutes, yeah.
So you can set one of those up before you go to work. If you can get your ass out of bed and do this.
Yeah.
Or you can do something in between, like Chemex, or you can an AeroPress is all over in a minute and a half. You know, so just do that, and by the time you've cleaned your teeth, you've got your cup of coffee, the AeroPress, and you've gone. And I will argue that an AeroPress with the right bean will deliver as good a shot as a double espresso for flavours, and any of the others you want to talk about. So I mean, it just really comes down to that triangle again. Whose bean are you going to use? How old is the bean? How are you grinding it? Making sure your water temperature. There's so many. It's big boys chemistry. Now we're into variables. Now we've moved on. From the conversation we had. We were generalising. Now we're getting into the science. Now we're getting into the science of it. And people just don't realise water quality. It has a massive impact on the taste. And if you think about it, what is that? It's some ground up bits and pieces with water.
It's sat there for a while.
So if the water's not correct, if you haven't got the correct TDS with the correct minerals in that water for those solid molecules of coffee to grab hold of, such that when you drink it, it releases on your tongue, you're not going to get as good a cup of coffee.
Which even goes into the next part of like that. Once the water in Seattle and San Francisco is different than Houston and in New York. You can all have a filtration process, and you do that, and you try to, but. I saw recently like San Francisco has like super soft water, and thus like how that reacts with coffee ends up like that's why San Francisco, like you go there, like it's not generalizing, like they have so many good coffee shops, and they all, because it's like soft water is very conducive to making a good cup of coffee. Hard water is not, and like even within a city, like Houston, like one part of Houston you'll have like softer water, one part you have super hard water. Yeah, you can filter it out, and like you can do reverse osmosis and do all that. However, it's always going to affect it. So once again, like my coffee was sent, like tastes really good here, and they figured out with the water, like in the pressure and everything. Send it to another part of Houston, the water is different. They get the pressure different, temperature is slightly different. It's not necessarily going to be as good. You go send it to Seattle, San Francisco. It all depends on that.
It is all control of variables.
Yeah.
That's, a good cup of coffee does come down when that third part of the triangle is the barista. That's controlling the variables. Now, I mean, the farmers can try and sort of work, trying to fight nature, not fight, hopefully work in harmony with nature. But a lot of the time, I guess he's fighting the hill and nature. The roaster, he's fighting the machine. Again, he's fighting variables. He's fighting temperature, time, and humidity,
pressure,
all those sort of things. So he's fighting as well. Just as the barista's fighting for water quality. You're quite right. So I've got a nearly $2,000 RO system back there, where we've got I've got about 50-gallon tanks down there. So I'm making RO, 3-stage RO, 3-stage front end, and then I've got a lovely polisher that it's putting. I strip all the crap out and the chlorines out, and then I put some minerals back in. So these coffee solids can grab hold of some nice things and it tastes nice in the mouth. But to Joe's point, he's right. The water all over the city is different in different places. So we take here. I strip everything out. I take out all the dirty parts with the sediment, and then I take out the chlorines with quite a high or low, in which way you live, a micron carbon filter, and then I have a carbon block to catch any carbon molecules that get past it, so it doesn't get into the RO, 3-stage RO. And the RO takes the taste from something like tap water in Houston goes anywhere between 250 and 320, something like that, depending on where you are, but roughly. You could also say 250 to 350, but that's a bit high. It's around 250. I take it back to something like 10, so I strip out 240.
Wow.
The dissolved size, I strip those out, and then I put nice clean minerals back in, and I can tweak it a little bit. I've got a way of tweaking it so that I can take some water from the front stage and mix it with the final result, just to bring the TDS back up and push it down. Just real minute movements, just to move it up and down. The machine would, like, obviously, just like your kettle, if you've got hard water, to Joe's point, if you've got a normal kettle and you've just put it under the tap and you boil water, back at the end of a year, when you look at the bottom of your kettle, it's got all that scale built up. That's the calcium inside the hard water that's doing that. Imagine my $20,000 machine there.
Yeah.
With all that
like,
calcium
yeah.
building up inside my steam tanks and my little head tanks and everything else. That's just frightening to think about. So,
Don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
so the idea is to try and not be too soft because that damages the machine.
Yep.
Not be too hard because that damages the machine. And of course, both of those areas affect taste. You try SCA say around 120. 120 is good.
Yeah.
So bearing in mind, tap water say 220, 250, and the machine would like to see 120. So there's a big difference between just taking straight tap water and running it into a machine like that. You can do it. It can be done, and it would taste okay. But if you want optimum, this is the control. Guys, are you trying to do for example? I apologize.
No. I mean, obviously, we could. We're talking about coffee. And you and I can like. I love like chatting with you. It's fantastic because it's it helps me and it like affirms with me that like I'm doing this all for the right reasons, and I'm like excited about this. Like not just to. This isn't just a career opportunity. This is like.
I'm only frustrated by the fact that Houston is not like Seattle, for instance, where they love their coffee in a big way, and all the shops are in not partnership, but again they're all a fraternity, I guess, is a way of looking at it. So somebody laughed, because we went up there specifically to see this machine and the Slayer machine, and we asked these guys, where can we see this machine working in anger? We didn't ask which is the best coffee shop or who does, because you're in Seattle for Christ's sake. I wanted to see that machine working in anger, and so we did that, and we went to a couple of others, and we even asked them, what do you think of the machine? And they said, such and such also got the machine. You need to go and try them. Try to see what they do with the machine as well. So that was something completely different.
Yeah.
Just even on the machine side of things. What frustrates me? What frustrates me is we don't have the passion in Houston as large as they have it in Seattle.
Passion amongst the
I call
coffee
it,
community, or just like the.
Let me do another triangle. I call it the coffee snobs, right? So you've got the coffee snobs. Like I would probably us as the coffee snobs on top. You've got people that come in and know what they're talking about. They'll come in and go, what are you doing? We got Joe's Irish. Oh, fantastic. We heard about that, so we came in. These are the snobs at the top. There's not many of them. And there's less in Houston than there is in Seattle, for instance. What happens is, with the coffee snobs, they push downwards. So they'll go and tell people, you need to go and have coffee at FIX because these guys really get it wrong. Thanks for again. They know what they're doing with the coffee. You really need to go and have a cup of coffee. Guys and girls, I don't really drink coffee very much, but I'll go along. And they tell their friends, and it pushes down. You can't do it the other way.
Yeah.
You can't make a good latte with a pretty pattern and have that young lady push upwards. It doesn't work. So everything has to come downwards. And unfortunately, the triangle we have in Houston is this size, and the triangle they have in Seattle is much bigger, I guess. That's a little frustrating. Yes.
No, I can definitely see that, and I see part of like what I'm like my coffee. I try to be approachable. Like that's a big thing that like on the producing side of it, I want to produce like and get good quality coffee from family-owned farms, from like and trying to reinvest into that. On the customer side of things, yes, I want to try to get into FIX. I want to get into high-end coffee bars. I want like coffee snob to get it, but I also want to get the everyday coffee drinker that probably drinks, maybe not drinks Folgers, but they drink like the whole bean that they get at HEB, the grocery store. That maybe it's better than Folgers, but it's not that great.
It's always this dichotomy that I find being in business. There's this dichotomy between the ethics about you mentioned about dealing with direct trade, fair trade, whatever you want to call it this week. But, having them being ethical about how you deal with those farmers and so on and so forth, and then you've got to commercialise this. You've got to make some money out of this.
Yeah.
If you don't make any money, it doesn't matter how principled you are or how high your ethics are, you ain't going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's as simple as that. So to your point, yes, you know,
trying to like you have to like you have to push that down and
you can go
bring
left
those.
field. You could take a bean, Joe, and just you go, wow, I found a way of making whatever. Right, and most people go, what the hell is this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The few people that talk go, oh yeah, now this is it.
Yeah.
This is really where it's at. And I go, no, I don't get it. You ain't, the commercial side of it ain't gonna go anywhere. Is
But
it?
this is why like I'm really happy to be working with you guys. Like this is like the Ethiopian on espresso. Like I think it's like you guys have really taken it to another level where it's like highlights like the beauty that can be in espresso without making it like unapproachable. Like this is like it's familiar,
That's a challenge.
yeah.
Let me
All right, you gotta go. You gotta do.
Sorry guys.
No. I don't know how much of that we're gonna get like and everything. It's gonna be really funny.
Oh my god, all that. That was awesome.